Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody and call to order the meeting of October 11th, 2021. It is 6:31, which is pretty darn close. Good. Let's see. Do we have, we've got the Pledge of Allegiance, and let's see. Mark, would you like to lead us in the pledge tonight?
Yes, Chairman, this is Samantha with Planning. Would you like to maybe proceed to, actually, if staff can invite the City Attorney's Office to just provide some quick comments on Assembly Bill 361 at this time.
Okay.
Sure. Let me hop in, Chair. Thank you. Yeah, just for the record, I wanted to note that at the October 5th, 2021 City Council meeting, the City Council adopted Resolution 2147 and made the necessary findings to continue to hold virtual meetings under the updated Brown Act teleconferencing virtual meeting requirements in compliance with Assembly Bill 361. And City Council's determination applied to all legislative bodies subject to the Brown Act. As such, the Planning Commission and Design Review Commission may continue to conduct virtual meetings under AB 361. So just wanted to make sure that that was noted for the record at the onset.
Okay, very good. Okay, can we proceed with the pledge?
Yes, Chairman, please proceed.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Let's see, Jackie, for the roll call.
Yes, Chairman. Good evening, everyone. We will do the Planning Commission roll call first, followed by the Design Review Commission. Chair Cloeter.
I'm here.
Vice Chair Liu.
I'm here.
Commissioner Juarez.
Here.
Commissioner Mamdapur-Carr.
Here.
And Commissioner Schwartz. Commissioner Schwartz.
Here, Jerry.
You're muted.
Sorry, I'm here.
Thank you. And now for the Design Review Commission, roll call. Chairman Chang.
Yes, I'm here.
Chairman Romo. Vice Chair Romo.
Here.
Commissioner Nadolny.
Here.
Commissioner Salo.
I'm here.
And Commissioner Tu.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody's accounted for. Very good. First, I'd like to welcome our colleagues, the Design Review Commission. Under the circumstances, it's been a long time since I've seen most of you, and it's real good to see the friendly faces again. So thank you so much for joining our meeting tonight. We're glad you're here. Tonight's meeting is live streamed on cable channel 3 and our online platforms. If you have public comments, you can send them to, first you log into pc-public-comment@sgch.org. No later than the time that the item is considered by the Planning Commission or Design Review Commission tonight. Comments received after items have been considered will not be read into the record. Comments will be read by our assistant tonight, Jackie Wong, and with a limit of 3 minutes each. Let's see, and also the agenda items will be introduced by Jackie. And to prevent any overlaps in the comments, each commissioner will be called upon to speak just so we don't get a lot of crosstalk. Okay, public comment. Let's see, Sam, would you like to lay out the ground rules for public comment?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This is a time set aside for members of the public to address the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission on items of interest that are not on the agenda, but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission cannot answer any questions or take any action until such item as the matter may appear as an item on an agenda. And so with that, Chairman, if you would like to ask Assistant Wong if any comments have been received.
Jackie, do we have anything tonight?
Not for this section. We did not receive any public comment for this.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Samantha, and she has the introduction of a new community development.
Yes, thank you, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission, as well as the Design Review Commission. It is a pleasure for planning staff this evening to introduce Community Development's new director, Aldo Cervantes. Aldo joins us from a neighboring city that shares in many similar characteristics as San Gabriel and also types of projects. Aldo has served as their community development director for more than a decade and has been involved with community development for even more years than that. Aldo is very familiar with the city of San Gabriel and also with the San Gabriel Valley region overall, and will now be sharing his depth of knowledge and expertise with the city. We are all very excited to have him as part of the community development team. But before I pass the introduction over to Aldo, I also want to mention that tonight presenting the first item is the Planning Division's planning aide, Omar Galicia, in case his name also appears to be relatively newer. Omar has been a part of the planning team since July. He's currently finishing up his postgraduate at Cal Poly Pomona, so I did wanted to mention that. But with that, I will pass the introduction over to Aldo for some comments.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. And thank you for the warm welcome to both chairs of the Planning Commission, as well as the chairs of the DRC. And of course, I'll acknowledge the vice chairs of both groups as well. It is welcoming and humble to be a part of this group. I will be part of this process for quite a while, and I like to become a resource for not only the staff, but the Planning Commission and the DRC as well. And I want to first also mention Sam, Matt, Omar, Anthony, and Jackie, who have been really a great team and really welcoming to me for the first week. And I like to at least give them a huge amount of credit for the last couple months here, and of course in their lifetime here with the city of San Gabriel. And so thank you, and I'm humbled by this experience, and hope we have a great meeting tonight.
Okay, welcome, Aldo. It's great to virtually meet you, and looking forward to one day soon actually shaking your hand. So looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Jared. Likewise.
All right. Okay, let's see. We have on our consent calendar, we have the approval of the minutes from our prior meeting, which was held on September 13th, 2021. And has everybody had a chance to review those minutes? And if so, do we have a motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve the Planning Commission hearing on September 13th, the meeting minutes.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Jackie?
Okay, let's start with Chair Klowitter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Liu,
Yes.
Commissioner Juarez,
I will abstain as I was not there.
and how about Commissioner Mamdapurkar
Yes.
and Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Okay, the vote is 4 yes, 1 abstention. Motion carried. Vote is 4-1.
Okay, very good. Let's see, Planning Commission hearing. Samantha?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Good evening. And thank you for participating and tuning into tonight's joint Planning Commission and Design Review Commission meeting. My name is Samantha T. Wassart, Planning Manager with the Community Development Department. There are 3 public hearing items to be considered by the Planning Commission tonight, and 1 public hearing item to be considered by the Design Review Commission tonight. Copies of the agenda and the staff report for tonight's hearing are available on the city's website at www.sangabrielcity.com. If you wish to comment on any of these items and are not the applicant, please email the public comments to pc-publiccomment@sgch.org no later than the time the item is considered by the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission tonight. Comments received after items have been considered will not be read into the record. So for all public hearing comments this evening, please email them to pc-publiccomment@sgch.org. For each item tonight, staff will provide a summary of the staff report, followed by comments from the applicant. Then the public hearing will be open and the recording secretary will begin reading aloud the public comments that have been received during the hearing. Each comment will be read for up to 3 minutes. After the public comments are read, the applicant is provided the opportunity to rebut if they choose. Prior to the close of the public hearing, the commission may ask questions of the applicant or staff. However, once the public hearing is closed, the opportunity for public comment has ended. Once the Planning Commission portion of the meeting is complete, the Design Review Commission portion of the meeting will begin. And so with that, Chairman, at this time, staff is ready to present Agenda Item 4A.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, Agenda Item A is for 140 West Valley Boulevard, Unit 107. It's planning case number CUP 21-005. This is for a conditional use permit. The applicant is Hong Kong VIP Kitchen, Yakson Zoo. And let's see, making our presentation tonight is our planning aide, Omar Galicia.
Good evening, commissioners. The public hearing item before you tonight is a conditional use permit, or CUP, to allow the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine. It's a Type 41 ABC license, and it'll be in conjunction with food service at an existing restaurant, Hong Kong VIP Kitchen, at 140 West Valley Boulevard, Unit 107, planning case number CUP 21-005. Slide 2, please. And this slide shows the project site. You'll see the subject property and more specifically where the unit is located within that site. It's located south of West Valley Boulevard and east of Abbott Avenue. Slide 3, please. The property is within the Valley Boulevard specific plan and is in the mixed-use transit-oriented development zone. You'll also see some of the surrounding zones on this slide. Slide 4, please. Hong Kong VIP Kitchen Restaurant applied for a business license in April 2021 and occupies a 2,526 square foot restaurant space. The restaurant operates from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Daily. Next slide, please. This is the current site plan and more specifically the floor plan on this slide. Next slide, please. In regards to the compatibility of uses, immediately east, there is mixed use and mixed-use transit-oriented development characterized by retail, a motel, restaurants, and supermarkets. Also to the east is a commercial center zone, which is characterized also by retail, coffee shops, offices, and bakeries. Immediately to the west, there is a commercial center zone characterized by the Life Plaza Center, which includes retail and restaurants, and also includes the Swiss Plaza. Also immediately to the west is in R2 zone, which is a mix of single family and low density multiple family zone. Next slide, please. Immediately to the north, there is a mixed-use transit-oriented development zone characterized by the Chen Chen Plaza, which includes retail, restaurants, coffee shops. Also to the north is the commercial center, which includes the Hilton Hotel, bakeries, and restaurants. Immediately to the south, there's an R2 zone, which includes multiple family residences, and there's also the mixed-use corridor, which includes general office space. It's important to note that to the west and to the south, there is a wall surrounding the plaza that separates the plaza from those uses. Next slide, please. The land use designation is commercial specific plan, and the project also meets the following goal of the 2004 general plan, which is economic goal 4.1, to create a vibrant business community. Slide 9, please. The Valley Boulevard specific plan has sustainable land use policies that are intended to help promote sustainable land use development on all commercial centers located along the Valley Boulevard. The proposed CUP would meet the following policies. 2.1, which is to sustain and enhance commercial centers that provide for the needs of local residents and visitors from the region. And 2.3, which is to accommodate the development of retail, service, office, entertainment, restaurant, culture, and similar community serving uses. Next slide, please. The project is exempt from the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act per guideline 15301, class 1, existing facilities. Next slide, please. As detailed on this slide, standard public noticing protocols were followed. Next slide, please. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Gabriel, California, approving planning case number CUP 21-005 for a conditional use permit at 140 West Valley Boulevard, Unit 107, to allow the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine, Type 41 ABC license, in conjunction with food service, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. And this concludes the presentation for this planning application.
Okay, thank you very much, Omar. Let's see, is the applicant available or here, or would you like to speak?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason, yes, the reason we really want it because that location is really close to 99 Ranch Market. In case most of the people we serve is a family together, but in case they bring a bottle of wine to celebrate their birthday or something, we have something to serve. At the same time we have a license and easy for us to, let them open a bottle of wine. That's it.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You for the understanding.
Say that again, please.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, Jackie, do we have any public comments for this item?
No, we did not receive any public comment for this item.
Okay.
Sorry, Chairman Kluiter, Jackie, I think we might have received the one.
I did not see it in the public comment email. I only see for 506 West Las Tunas. Do we have one? Let's see. Oh, this is for it just came in this, Alexander C. Is that the one? Okay, got it. All right, I apologize. There's one from Alexander C. It's spelled S-Y. It says, I'm a new property owner adjacent to the proposed conditional use permit at 140 West Valley Boulevard, Unit 107. I strongly oppose approving this development on concerns of increased noise pollution, disorderly conduct, and crimes related to inebriated conduct. That's all. And that's the only public comment received. Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. Okay, so let's close the comment period and open this up for commissioner discussion. Jingbo, you want to lead us off?
All right. Yeah, I see the restaurant is located in the well-established business surroundings. I don't see any major issues to me for just serving the beer and wine associated with the food. I think that it will bring a nicer experiences for the restaurant, and so I don't have any issues with it. Thank you.
Okay, Anand?
I'm going to share my sentiments, same as Vice Chair Jimbo. I don't see any issue. It means congratulations on your grand opening. Sure, your beer and wine will complement your food established as part of your restaurant. I see a lot of other restaurants at that site as well, you know, already serving beer and wine at those other locations. It just gives our applicant an opportunity to be able to provide an amenity to be competitive with his other restaurant owners. So I wish him all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anand. Commissioner Schwartz.
Yeah, I would agree with my fellow commissioners. The menu looks like makes it look like a really nice place. And I can see where beer and wine would certainly complement that menu. And I don't see it to be any concern. And so I hope it's very successful.
Thank you, Jerry. Mark?
Just a quick question first, and for the record, for the public. As part of the process for any application like this, the police department reviews the surrounding areas and the records of whether there have been issues related to this as a routine part of the application process. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
That's correct. Okay, so they've done their analysis and they found no issues with this. So I see no reason that I should find any issues with it. So I would support this as well.
Yeah, Mark, if there were issues or comments that from the police department, those would be in our staff report.
In the report, yeah.
Correct.
Just clarifying, and also for the public, so they know that we're not, that we're on the ball, sort of.
All right, thanks, Mark. Okay, I agree with the commissioners. This is an established location. There are multiple restaurants within a large mall, and the surrounding area, it is a dinner destination. So I just I see no problem with the with this item, and so I'm going to go ahead and move to approve planning case number CUP 21-005 for a conditional use permit to allow the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine type 41, which is an ABC license, in conjunction with an existing restaurant use at 140 West Valley Boulevard, Unit 107, better known as the Hong Kong VIP Kitchen, and that is subject to the conditions of approval. Do I have a second?
I will second. It's Jingbo.
Okay. Jackie, how about a vote?
Okay, Chair Cloeter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Liu,
Yes.
Commissioner Juarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mamdapurkar,
Yes.
and Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Okay, the vote is 5 yes, and motion carried.
Okay. Congratulations to our applicant, and best of luck in the future with your restaurant.
Thank you so much for all of your support, and we will work hard on it.
Thank you. Okay, item B, we're moving right along. This is 313 West Norwood Place. It's planning case number TMAP 18-004, which would be for a tentative parcel map. The applicant is Jian Dang, and our presentation tonight is from Associate Planner Anthony Alvarado. You have the floor, Anthony.
Thank you, Chairman Cloeter. Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. The next public hearing item before you tonight is for a tentative parcel map to propose a subdivision for a 2-unit development at the address 313 West Norwood Place. Planning case number TMAP 18-004. Slide number 2, please. The project site is located on the north side of West Norwood Place between Manor Way and Jackson Avenue. The project site is bordered by multifamily residences to the north and multiple single-family residences to the east and west. The project is also bordered by the Marshall Park, located directly across the street to the south. Slide number 3, please. The property is zoned R2 for low-density multiple family residence and has a general land use designation of medium-density residential. Slide number 4, please. Above is an image of the part of the image of the proposed tentative parcel map. The proposed tentative parcel map would allow for the dwelling units to be sold separately as individual units. Slide number 5, please. The proposed project complies with the R2 development standards set forth in the code as far as density, lot coverage, height, setbacks, open space, and both required parking and guest parking. Each unit would have a 2-car garage on the ground floor and share a single guest parking space. The project is also including a 736 square foot ADU found to the rear of the front unit. However, according to Government Code 65282.2, the ADU must be considered ministerially without a discretionary review or hearing. So as a result of it, the tentative parcel map and the hearing tonight is only for the subdivision. It's not for the ADU. The ADU is compliant with the San Gabriel Municipal Code. Slide number 6, please. The general land use designation is medium density residential. As far as meeting the general plan and being consistent with the general plan, the project does comply with the following goals, which there's housing goal 2.1, which is to expand the supply of housing in accordance with the land use designations and policies in the general plan land use element. And housing goal 2.2, which is to promote and encourage provision of adequate housing to meet the needs of the community. Slide number 7, please. This project was reviewed for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, and found to be exempt under guideline section 15315, class 15, for the subdivision of properties into 4 or fewer parcels. Slide number 8, please. Thank you. Public noticing was done for the proposed project. Mailed notices were sent out to property owners and tenants within 500-foot radius. Notices were posted at the project site. Agendas were posted at the City Hall, Post Office, and the Public Library, as well as having the meeting advertised in the issue of the September 30th, 2021 San Gabriel Sun. Slide number 9, please. According to Subdivision Map Act, Section 66473, it requires that the City of San Gabriel deny approval of a tentative parcel map if it makes any of the required findings for denial. However, based on this application, staff was unable to make any of the findings for denial. And it is with that, slide number 10, please, sorry. It is with that staff recommends that the Design Review Commission adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Gabriel, California, approving planning case number TMAP 18-004 for a tentative parcel map, map number 82763 at 313 West Norwood Place, to allow the development of the 2-unit condominium subdivision subject to the recommended conditions of approval. This will conclude staff's presentation at this time. We do have the representative Edward Lee on the line, who is with the applicant team that would be able to answer any questions that you have for the applicant team. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. Commissioners, do you have any questions of staff before we go to the applicant?
No.
Okay. Okay, the applicant, do you have any comments for us? Feel free to speak at this time.
Oh, yeah, this is Edward Lee. No, I don't have any further comments on it.
Okay, have you had a chance to review the conditions of approval? Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Okay, and no problems there?
No.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions of the applicant? Okay, if none, we'll open this up for public comment. Jackie, do you have anything to share?
Not for this item, Chair. We did not receive any public comment.
Okay, thank you. I will go ahead and close the public comment period then, and open this up for commissioner discussion. Let's start with you, Mark.
Could someone refresh my memory? How many bedrooms are we talking for the entire new structure? All the new building?
Anthony, I'm going to throw that one over to you.
Yes, Commissioners Juarez, are you also referring to the portion that is serving as an ADU as well? Or
no, we're not supposed to consider that, so
right.
No, just in the
it is
condominium.
It is 9, but I just want to confirm that really quick. It is 8. I'm sorry about that. It is 8.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure what that's in. So, okay, so I have a concern right off the bat because you're talking 8 bedrooms. You got to figure every bedroom at some point in the structure's life is a car. I believe even one of the measures of over-occupation is when there's more than one person per bedroom and so forth. So you got 8 bedrooms, conceivably 8 cars, 2 two-car garages, and 1 guest spot. I know from previous lives, police, and I know our city's history. We issue street parking permits with an eyedropper. So I know parking's an issue. It's a safety issue. It's a law enforcement issue. I'm a little bit concerned that this site is underparked for the number of bedrooms that we might be putting on there. I just want to raise that concern pending my other commissioners' comments.
Anthony, you want to jump in on that one? Is this park to code? What are we looking at here?
Thank you, Chairman Klobuchar. Yes, this is park to code in that each unit would have to provide a 2-car covered garage. Each of the unit does have a separate 2-car covered garage, as well as a uncovered guest parking space to share between the 2 units. As far as the ADU is allowed to park on the shared driveway. We cannot require another parking structure for the ADU. But as far as the units itself that have the 8 bedrooms, it is parked according to code.
Okay, thank you.
So then, are we legally obligated to approve it because it meets code? Or can we find that because of the conditions in this neighborhood and because of this proposal, where we're going to put too many cars on the street? Do we even have a choice in this case? A question for council, perhaps.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
Yeah, yes. To the extent that the housing development projects meet objective development standards, then that would essentially require approval unless denial is based on very high standards of health and safety. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at what those actual standards are, but it's a pretty high bar. So in essence, if the objective development standards are met, then typically that would require approval.
So I can understand correctly, code is now, okay, because I had a previous life as a planning commissioner in the 90s. And back then, code wasn't a development right. So is this recent case law that now it is?
Yeah, under the Housing Development Act, there's been a lot of changes to housing law.
Okay.
So we are in a very different universe. So you must approve a project if it's consistent with objective general plan, zoning, subdivision, and design standards and criteria. Again, objective standards, meaning that a neutral third party would be able to determine, like it's not something that is unclear. It has to be consistent and objective, that a developer knows ahead of time what they need to follow. And if that's the case, then yes, you would require approval unless there is a specific adverse impact upon the public or safety, and if there is no feasible method to satisfactorily mitigate or avoid the adverse impact. And so if you can't find those 2 things, then the project is consistent and would require approval. So yeah, the laws of the 90s do not apply today.
We could not even make a finding that we want 1 guest parking for each unit?
It would have to, we can't add conditions that are not consistent with our code. If it meets the parking requirements under the code, then we cannot on an ad hoc basis, add
Okay.
additional conditions on a project by project basis.
Well, considering what we're going to be doing with our housing element, we're going to be approving an awful lot of units, I guess. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. That clarifies things.
And that's consistent with the intent of the state laws around housing.
Mhm. Another centralization of authority. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Anand?
My concerns were more towards the weekends. I know we will allow the builder to be able to build on the weekends, but my concern is that is there going to be an issue with parking with maybe leagues or city activities that might be at the site. Also, I know we have a safety office out there on that by the park. And will that be an issue for the police if they work Saturday work is there, maybe moving large trucks in and out of Norwood? Will that affect their ability to respond? That was kind of some of my concerns. So I don't know if staff or could address some of those concerns right now.
Yes, I could jump in there. Thank you, Commissioner Monaporcar. Staff did communicate with community services just to get an idea of what that activity looks like for the park, both on the weekdays and on the weekends. During the weekends, they have 2 picnic locations or 2 picnic areas that they use to rent out to the community. One on Norwood Place, the other one is on the southern portion of the park, found on West Marshall Street. They also hold certain events throughout the city, such as like after-school programs, the summer concerts, and the movies at the park. However, what they informed me was that a lot of this activity is actually held at the southern portion of the park, found along Marshall Street, West Marshall Street, not actually along Norwood Place. Norwood Place does have a picnic location or a picnic rental location, but that would be the only thing that is located along Norwood. As far as the police department satellite station, that is also located along Marshall Street. We did route these plans to the police department, and they did not bring up any concerns about it, but I could also work with the Public Works Department to address any of the hauling and the taking away of the trash with the large trucks, working on the route with that just to make sure and confirm that it's not going to interfere with any of the traffic that might come from Marshall, West Marshall Street.
Okay, because my biggest concern is that the park gets used on the weekends a lot more, and that now if we have construction traffic that's affecting or construction parking that's taking up available space, then it just adds a little bit more strain to the community in terms of people trying to find parking, walking around. No, things are getting a little bit further. I guess if I was to make a recommendation, I guess I would allow city staff to have to, if there's any concerns that come out, that these hours get reconsidered or if for future. But I generally, I don't have an issue with how the project's been put together and presented. Just that I would rather give city staff an opportunity to have a little bit more control if there is an issue with, usage of Norwood Street as a accessibility and parking. Other than that, I have no other comments. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Anand. Jerry?
Yeah, I didn't see the issues that my fellow commissioners saw. What I looked at mostly was the table showing that the proposed project meets all the R2 development standards. I thought that was very important. I see where with the size of the units, there may be some parking on the street necessary. That's obviously not the best, but overall, I think because it meets the standards, it's a project that I can approve.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Jingbo.
All right. Yeah, I when I first look at the project, I think, on a 10,000 square foot lot for 2 units, it's kind of moderate at R2 zoning, and also considering where the direction our state is going, the SB4, SB9, and I feel it's acceptable. Actually, the density wise, the size wise is acceptable. The parking, to me, that's total 5 parking spaces for 2 units, 4 bedroom each. It's not a huge concern to me, and so I don't have any other than our fellow commissioners mentioned. So I don't have any further.
Okay, thanks, Jingbo. Yeah, I don't really have any issues with this either. As Commissioner Schwartz mentioned, the R2 development standards have been met. We're looking for just a straightforward tentative track map, and also the lot coverage is below requirement, or standard. And with that, I would I'm going to move to approve planning case number TMAP 18-004 for a tentative parcel map number 82763 to allow the subdivision of 1 parcel for condominium purposes at 313 West Norwood Place, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. And Jackie?
Okay, Chairman Clowitter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Liu,
Yes.
Commissioner Juarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mamdapur-Carr,
Yes.
and Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Keep the vote is 5-0. Motion carried.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. Okay, I guess we're done with this portion of the meeting. Let's see, I will turn it over to Norma Tavares to discuss the format of the rest of the meeting. And I will personally be bowing out. I have a conflict with the upcoming case, being as it's within 300 feet of my house. And I will have to be recusing myself from any further discussion. Is there, I believe we have one other commissioner who's in the same position. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Commissioner Mamdapur-Carr will also be recusing himself for this item because he also lives within the 500-foot radius of the project, and under the Political Reform Act, that is deemed to have a disqualifying interest. So for those reasons, both Chair Clowitter and Commissioner Mamdapur-Carr will be recusing themselves for this item.
Very good. Thanks, Norma. I want to thank the Design Review Commission for joining us and your patience as we work through the first couple of items on our agenda. Best of luck to you as you go ahead with the rest of the agenda. And it's great to see all of you, and hopefully we can do this all in person soon. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It's good to see everyone also. This is Commissioner Mamdapur-Carr. I wish you all have a good evening and hope to see you around the neighborhood. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Vice Chair Liu will be assuming the role of chair and run the Planning Commission public hearing for item 4C. And to provide opportunity for individual review of the project by each legislative body, we will open first the public hearing for the Planning Commission, and only the Planning Commissioners will consider, deliberate, and take action on item 4C. And once the Planning Commission takes action and that public hearing for item 4A is closed, then we will open a separate public hearing for the Design Review Commission to take up item 5A. And at that time, only the Design Commission, the DRC, will consider, deliberate, and take action on item 5A. And Chair Chang will assume the role of chair to run that portion of the meeting. So at this point, I want to hand it back to Vice Chair Liu.
Thank you. Okay, let's do the next Planning Commission item C, 506 West Las Tunas Drive, 113 South Santa Anita Drive, Street, 515 Padilla Street, 519 Padilla Street, 523 Padilla Street, and 527 Padilla Street, and 531 Padilla Street. It is planning case number TMAP 21-001, Tentative Parcel Map, CUP 21-001, Conditional Use Permit. And the MOD 21-001 is for minor modifications. The applicant is Richard Hell, the Hell Corporation. The presentation will be made by Senior Planner Matt Chen. Matt?
Thank you, Vice Chair and members of the Planning Commission. For your consideration tonight, a 5-story medical office building with a 4-story parking structure is in front of you for your consideration. And you can go to next slide, please. The subject site is at the corner of Las Tunas Drive and Santa Anita Street within the Mission District specific plan. And the subject site, it is zone medical facility, which you can show on the next slide. Next slide, please. The property is zone medical facility. To the east or to the right is the San Gabriel Valley Medical Center, and to the south is another 4-story medical office building. And next slide, please. Staff provide a detailed summary of the project history in your staff report. Just to kind of briefly summarize the history. Back in 2016, Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission approved this project for a similar 5-story medical office building with a 4-story parking structure. And in 2019, the entitlement will expire. And in January of this year, the applicant representing a new property owner submitted a new entitlement application requesting a similar but smaller medical office building project. Next slide, please. In the spring of this year, the applicant presented the project to both Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission for preview. So both PCN and the DRC can provide comments to the project. And in June of this year, the applicant sent out a community outreach notice to the residents and occupants within the 500-foot radius to kind of notify their intention to build this project. And this can consider as a public outreach to reach out to the residents as well as the business owner within this 500-foot radius. And next slide. The staff mentioned before, the project site is zone medical facility, MF, and the lot size is about 1.29 acres. For the 5-story medical office building, the ground floor actually is going to be used for retail and restaurant use, which are allowed in the medical facility zone in the San Gabriel Municipal Code. And the 4-story parking structure is to attach to the medical office building. And next slide, please. Staff provide a table in your staff report, kind of just compare the current proposed project against the project that was approved back in 2016. As you can tell by this table that the both square footage and also required parking space are less than what was previous proposed. Next slide, please. The project meets several goals of the general plan, including land use destination, land use goal, economic goals in the San Gabriel general plan. Slide number 9. This table provides a comparison of the medical facility development standards against the current proposed project, and the project itself comply with the applicable municipal code except floor area ratio, or FAR, and also parking. Next slide. Floor area ratio, which is FAR, the applicant is requesting a minor modification applications, and in May of 2019, City Council adopt a clear definition of what FAR stands for and how we calculate FAR. So in this particular case, the above parking structure, above ground parking structure is included in the FAR calculation, whereas the previous approval project, they didn't include that FAR. But for this particular project, the project itself meets the setback as well as open space requirements, and the square footage actually is less than the previous proposed projects, and therefore staff is recommending the commission to approve the minor modification for FAR reduction. Next slide. The other development standard waiver the applicant is asking will be the parking, which triggers a conditional use permit. Conditional use permit process allow up to 20% of parking reduction if planning commission can find finding to support that parking reduction. And the parking reduction request is similar to the previous one. For this particular project, the applicant is requesting 12% parking reduction. And whereas the previous project, the applicant at that time was asking about 11% parking reduction. But staff like to notice that the project size of this particular project is much smaller, so requires less parking. And as part of finding for the parking reduction, there are 2 metro bus lines that provide regular scheduled service, which in the municipal code, the commission could use that as a finding to grant the parking reduction because they have regular metro regular service in the vicinity of this project. And another item staff would like to point out, because the project is adjacent to San Gabriel Valley Medical Center and other medical office buildings, it is anticipated that some visitors of this new proposed building will be kind of in walking distance from nearby hospital or other medical facilities, or even other nearby multifamily or single family residents. So it is anticipated that some of the visitors will be kind of visit this building by walking instead of using their own vehicle to show up at this building. Next slide, please. As part of the last approval back in 2016, one of the conditions required by the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission is to install a permanent street enclosure by Padilla Street. So the intent of that condition is to prohibit any vehicle access going to a residential street, is can tell by this picture. And for this particular project, staff and also Public Works Department are requiring the same condition. So if the project is approved by the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission, the applicant will be submitting a permanent design intent and also detail to our Public Works Department for approval. And the enclosure will still allow emergency access only, but the regular vehicle traffic will be prohibited going down to residential street. Next slide. As part of this request, staff is also asking the Planning Commission to grant a 6-month extension of the conditional use permit as well as some minor modifications. The code allows approval of CUP and also minor modification only for 6 months. But since this project still requires Design Review Commission approval and still requires a building and grading plan check process, it is likely that the construction might not be start within the 6 months windows. So therefore, staff is recommending the Planning Commission to grant the 6 months extension if Commission approve the CUP and also minor modification applications. Next slide. In 2016, when Planning Commission approved this project, they also approved the environmental document, which is a mitigated negative declaration, MND, and also mitigation monitoring reporting program is a mitigation measure that to address any potential environmental concern relating to these projects. So at that time, the Planning Commission adopted MND and also the MNRP, so we can call it adopt MND. So for this project, staff has worked with city's environmental consultant, Placeworks, and addendum to the adopt MND has been prepared for this project in accordance with the CEQA requirement. Next slide. For public noticing, we noticed this project as a special joint PC and DRC meeting to all residents, business owners, property owners, and occupants within 500-foot radius of this project site. And hearing notice and also newspaper ad also provide the additional notices. Next slide. In conclusion, staff is recommending the Planning Commission to adopt the addendum to the adopted MND and also approve planning case number TMAP 21-001, CUP 21-001, and MOD 21-001. For the medical office building, subject to the recommendations approval, as well as granting a 6 months time extension for the CUP and minor modifications. And before staff concludes staff's presentation, staff like to point out that we also have city's environmental consultant, Placeworks, here, and they will be able to assist or address any environmental CEQA related questions. And the applicant will also have a very detailed PowerPoint presentation as part of their presentation for the commission. This concludes staff's presentation, and staff is ready for any question.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, have any question to the staff for the staff's presentation? Mark?
I don't have any question for the applicant at this time.
What about Jerry?
I don't have any questions as well.
All right. For the applicants, do you want to do your presentation for the commissions?
Good evening. Yes, this is Richard Hale with the Hale Corporation. I'm prepared to begin the PowerPoint presentation. And they can go to slide 2 of the presentation to start with. Good evening, planning commissioners and staff. My name is Richard Hale with the Hale Corporation. I am the general contractor and owner's representative for this project. Tonight with me is the project architect, Corey Whitfield, civil engineers, CDR, landscape architect, Aaron Padilla Landscape, and our traffic consultant, KOA. Also viewing tonight, the YouTube is the property ownership, which is Fortune Medical. And I would like to thank our planner, Matt Chang, and staff for their assistance through this process today. Next slide, please. Tonight we are presenting for the second time to the Planning Commission is 508 West Las Tunas. The project is known as San Gabriel Medical Office Building. The project is located at the southwest corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita Street. On the east side of the street, east side of the project is a 5-story San Gabriel Medical Hospital. To the south is the 4-story San Gabriel Valley Medical Plaza, located directly south of us. Next slide, please. Our project consists of a 5-story medical office building, 98,012 square feet. The ground floor will be a mix of retail and open-air fast casual restaurants. All parking will be on-site inside a 4-story parking structure with 2 levels of subterranean parking. The medical office building height is 70 feet. The parking structure height is 47 feet, 5 inches. We will be providing 339 parking stalls, which will include the specified accessible parking stalls, car charging stations, and clean air vehicle stalls. Next slide, please. On slide 5, you will see the entitlements that we're requesting. The tentative parcel map, merging the 7 parcels into 1 parcel, same as previously approved. A conditional use permit for the parking reduction up to 20%, same as the previously approved project. We're utilizing, by doing so, we're utilizing the transit accessibility reduction factor of 20%. We've confirmed there is a bus stop across the street to the north of the project and to the west of the project, which is served by Metro Local 78 and Metro Express 487. This was confirmed with the Metro timetable. This bus that stops at San Diego and Las Tunas intersection every 15 to 30 minutes during morning and afternoon peak hours. This is also confirmed by the traffic consultant KOA and also provided to the city planner, Matt Chang. The minor modification for the FAR reduction. This is a requirement or necessary as the FAR reduction function has changed, incorporating the parking structure. Then we have the precise plan of design for the building architecture design. This was previously approved by the project, the previous project. Next slide, please. On slide 6, we'd like to elaborate on the reduction of the overall project to the commissioners. Here are some of the improvements we made to the project that was originally approved in 2016. We have a smaller footprint than the originally approved project. We reduced the footprint by 1,785 square feet. We have a smaller square footage than the originally approved project. We reduced the building area by 63,958 square feet. As a result of the smaller project, we've reduced our dirt export of over 29,000 cubic yards of dirt. We have eliminated 17 days of hauling dirt off-site. We've eliminated 2,124 truckloads of dirt moving off-site. Additionally, we have reduced our number of concrete loads, shoring days, and most importantly, reduced the overall construction schedule by more than 90 days. At this point, we'd also like to point out a few other items that we have completed. We have gone through the ARS, and more importantly, we've gone through the MND with Placeworks, and they have concluded that both the traffic report was prepared and they confirmed there's no significant impact. The noise study was completed. They confirmed that there was no significant impact. The air quality, greenhouse gas studies were completed. They also have no significant impacts. Next slide, please. On slide 7, you will see the new proposed project in 2021. On this slide, you will see the rendering we prepared and submitted to this commission earlier this year. This rendering is at the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita. Looking down Santa Anita, you can see the existing 4-story medical building. Next slide, please. Slide 8. This slide is another rendering we prepared and submitted previously to this commission. This rendering is looking north on Santa Anita as well as westerly down Padilla. This also gives a perspective to the visitors departing the hospital heading towards the north onto Santa Anita Street. Next slide, please. On slide 9, This is the remarks we received from the DRC. Based on the DRC meeting, we wanted to recap the feedback we received from the commissioners, Matt Chang, and the city architect at the time, Dale Brown. The project should address the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita Street, the gateway to the Mission District Medical Zone. Raise the building to address the street elevations, provide greater retail visibility and pedestrian accessibility. Address the access from the bus stop to the front. Address the access from the bus stop in front of the hospital and hospital access to Padilla. Provide a more open and inviting streetscape along Santa Anita on Las Tunas. Enhance the retail, food service, fast casual dining visibility. Provide signage opportunity. Slide 10, please. Here are the design team solutions to your comments. Proposal 2, we raise the building up to be at the same elevation with the street corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita. In Proposal 2, we have stepped the building with grade changes along Santa Anita. All building entrance levels are accessible from the adjacent sidewalks in Proposal 2. Proposal 2 brings the fast casual food service experience to the sidewalk edge and opens up interior space to address exterior pedestrian vistas and automobile traffic. Proposal 2 addresses the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita by reducing the second floor spatial encroachment and matches the first floor footprint. The corner second floor revisions create a large open two-story patio space that addresses the corner and provides a gateway not only to the Mission District and the medical community, but also the retail and food court experience. Proposal 2 creates retail and fast casual food service signage opportunities and entries that address the pedestrian activity and view from passing automobiles. Proposal 2 is designed for retail success. Next slide, please. Slide 11. On this slide, we illustrate how we respond to the DRC and the community outreach feedback. You will see the top left corner of the image. This is along Santa Anita looking into the fast casual food service. We provide the same elevation entrance from the street into the open air dining experience. On the bottom left corner of the slide, this is looking further up the street, and we maintain the same elevation at the street entrance to ensure retail success and great pedestrian and automobile visibility. On the right side of the slide are the inspiration images to provide references of how the open air fast casual dining experience will be enjoyed by the tenants and the community. Next slide, please. Slide 12. On this slide, on the left corner, you can see the overall image of Santa Anita. This also further illustrates how the grade elevations have been addressed based on the feedback we received. The other images on the street, this sheet provides references to the inspiration of the open air experience and everyone to enjoy. Next slide, please. This is the revised rendering of Proposal 2. Here you have the updated rendering. This is on the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita. Next slide, please. Slide 14. This is the other revised rendering, Proposal 2. This is the updated rendering from Santa Anita Street looking north. Next slide, please. Slide 15, this is the enlarged updated rendering for Proposal 2. This is located at the corner of Santa Anita Street and Las Tunas. You'll notice again that we've updated the design to ensure that the street grade is at the same level as the building entrance, thus creating greater visibility for the pedestrian, automobiles, and tenants. This creates a great transition into the medical district. This will become an inviting element into the healing garden for the physicians, staff, and patients working and being treated in this building, as well as the hospital across the street. The fast casual dining area will be a welcome and blessing for our first responders and physicians working in the area. Slide 16, please. This rendering comparison of 2016 versus 2021. This is at the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita Street. On the bottom of the slide, you will see the previously approved project in 2016. On the top of the slide, you'll see the 2021 revised rendering proposal number 2. Next slide, please. Slide 17. This rendering is a comparison of 2016 versus 2021. This is at Santa Anita Street looking north. On the bottom of the slide, you will see the previously approved project in 2016. On the top of the slide, you will see 2021 revised rendering proposal number 2. Next slide, please. Slide 18. Here is a rendering comparison of proposal 1 versus the updated rendering proposal number 2. This is at the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita. On the bottom of the slide, proposal 1, our original design. On the top of the slide is proposal number 2. On this slide, we can compare the updated proposal based on the feedback and direction we have received. We have addressed the building elevation. Now the visitors enter the building from the street at the same elevation. There is no longer a sunken plaza. Now the elevation has been changed. The indoor-outdoor flow has been addressed. Architecturally, we have also improved on the design aesthetics. The upper fascia has been pulled back to reduce the height of the corner. We added signage opportunities to the tenant success. Alternate material added to break up the building mass of the central portion of the building along Santa Anita. You will also notice the second floor of the corner has been pulled back to create greater visibility. Additionally, you will notice that the landscaping also has been enhanced. Next slide, please. On slide 19, this slide is the other rendering comparison. This is looking north along Santa Anita Street. The bottom of proposal 1 and the top of the slide is proposal number 2. We've created greater visibility for the pedestrian entrance along Santa Anita into the medical building. The fast casual dining experience is now the same level as Santa Anita. The landscaping has also been enhanced. Slide 20, please. This is a footprint comparison of 2016 versus 2021. The yellow color you see is the footprint of the 2016 originally approved project, whereas it extended further than our proposed building. The yellow and black cross-hatched lines with green background represents the footprint of the project we are submitting before you. The footprint has been repositioned to create greater setback from Las Tunas and Santa Anita. The increased setback has also created greater line of sight visibility at the corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita, as I mentioned earlier. Additionally, we have repositioned the footprint to increase the side yard setback from the westerly adjacent commercial building, commonly known as Newport Seafood Restaurant. We increased this setback by an additional 10 feet. The light blue you see is the open air fast casual dining area for the community physicians and first responders. Slide 21, please. Slide 21 is our site plan. We feature both retail spaces along Las Tunas and fast casual restaurants on Santa Anita. The project is served with parking structure for 339 vehicles. Visitors will enter from the structure on Padilla. The original design was approved by the City and Public Works to include an ingress and egress driveway onto Las Tunas. We have created an ingress-only driveway for deliveries and have also pulled the driveway back 20 feet from the corner intersection. This will eliminate any traffic entering back onto Las Tunas. The side yard of the parking structure will include long-term bike lockers for employees and physicians. Inside the parking structure will be short-term bicycle racks. The trash enclosure is accessed via the delivery driveway off Las Tunas, and the disposal and the recycle containers will be in an enclosed and secure trash enclosure not visible from the street or pedestrians. On the right side of the sheet is a legend for the fill pattern. The gray color represents the building footprint. The white color is the parking structure. The tan crosshatch color represents the open air fast casual food center. The yellow is the covered patio areas for the visitors and tenants. The green is the landscape The corner of Las Tunas and Santa Anita will feature an open covered patio. This will be our healing garden for the project. On the lower portion of the project, corner of Padilla and Santa Anita, we have created a meditation area for those waiting for family within the building, seeing their physician, or receiving treatments across the street at the hospital. On our site plan, on the bottom of the slide, we also graphically show the street closure at Padilla Road. It is a landscape buffer with an elevated emergency vehicle curb identical to the one that was approved and conditioned with the original project in 2016. Next slide, please. Slide 22 is the circulation site plan. Based on the previous meeting with the city, and the commissioners asked that we look at the circulation. On this slide, we have illustrated how visitors, staff, and community will be able to access the project. The blue lines depict the exterior path of travel. On the top of the page are two paths of travel shown to accommodate the mass transit riders who will be served as path from the bus stop directly across the hospital. This is the eastbound Metro Express 487 and the local Metro 78. On the bottom of the page is path of travel to the existing medical office building to the south of our project, and across the street leads to the hospital. The purple lines depict the interior path of travel. These lines depict how visitors will enter the street level into the retail, restaurants, and medical building. Inside the parking structure, we have also depicted how those in the structure will enter the building. Next slide, please. Slide 23. These are the inspiration photos. We have included inspiration photos that depict the previously approved project on the bottom of the slide, the community hospital across the street, the adjacent medical building to the south of our project, which is the middle of the slide, and the colors and textures that can be found within the area. Next slide, please. On this slide are inspiration photos which introduce thoughtful elements that talk to the community colors and textures. We also want to introduce indoor and outdoor fast casual dining experience for the tenants, hospital community, and first responders, and the City of St. Gabriel residents. On the bottom of the slide is the architectural elevation along Santa Anita Street. Next slide, please. Slide 25. Here are the public art inspiration. The team has begun the process of developing a public art program. On this slide are examples of public art for the community enjoyment. The team has started the process of identifying the locations within the project for the proposed artwork. We're also starting the careful process of identifying artisans that can design and commission their public art that will deliver the meaningful message that this is the gateway project into the medical community. Next slide, please. Signage inspiration. From one of our previous meetings with the city, we have listened to Matt Chang and Dale Brown. You conveyed that we should begin developing our signage program. We have begun developing inspiration photos to tell a story to the commission and the community. On this slide are examples of signage. We are mindful and will further enhance the wayfinding signage for the visitors to access not only the building, but also the parking structure. We intend to further develop the signage package for everyone's review and approval. The signage package will encompass building signage, tenant signage, address, parking structure, and wayfinding. Next slide, please. Slide 27, building elevation signage. Here are the architectural elevations of both Las Tunas and Santa Anita. We have also included on the bottom of the slide a sampling of materials that will be utilized in the project. It will be a mix of ACM, non-reflective silver color, horizontal metal panels with wood grain, clear glass, non-vision gray spandrel, EFIS with a smooth texture. On the Las Tunas elevation, we provide reference to the adjacent buildings outlined in gray color, which include the Newport Seafood Restaurant and the two-story office building. The parking structure sits back from Las Tunas, 212 feet. With regards to signage, we have begun developing the plan. The red dots are the proposed building signage, names and address locations. The purple dots are the proposed retail signage locations. The blue dots are the directional sign locations. All the signs will be further enhanced with the signage program for future review. Next slide, please. Slide 28. Building elevation and signage locations. These elevations, along with Padilla Road, are along Padilla Road and the west elevation of the medical office building and parking structure. The blue dots are the directional sign locations. All the signs will be further enhanced with our signage program. Next slide, please. Slide 29 is our material and color board. On this slide, you will see the materials and colors which will be utilized on the project. The physical color board was messengered to the city architect's office in Orange County, attention to Ron Nestor. Subsequently, we received feedback from Mr. Nestor. All comments received were positive, and he did make one request to adjust the plaster terracotta color, which will be softer to match the city sidewalk terracotta color. Next slide, please. Slide 30 is our site plan. Here we are back to the site plan. This again demonstrates the flow of the public sidewalk into the retail, fast casual dining and medical community. We will also be constructing all new city sidewalks on all three sides of our building in the same decorative color concrete that surrounds the adjacent hospital and a medical office building to the south of us. Slide 31, next slide. This brings us back to the street elevation on Las Tunas and Sanier. You will notice the visitors and community have excellent street level access and great line of sight for automobiles as well. This will become the entrance to the medical community, serving your community. Thank you. This is our conclusion. So thank you again for listening to this long presentation. And I'm here to answer any questions of the commissioners. Hello?
Yes, Vice Chair, this is Samantha with Planning. If you would like to continue the meeting. Thank you.
Yes, I forgot to turn it on the mic. Thank you, applicants. Thank you very much for your presentation. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicants? Jerry?
No questions right now. Thank you.
Mark, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just to be clear, we're out of the public hearing, right? This is.
No, it's just commissioners to the applicants.
Yeah. I have a question about and I had this question, months ago when this was when I first saw it anyway. How is the parking structure to be operated? I'll just leave it at that, and then I'll ask for clarification, depending on your answer.
So this is Richard Hale. So the parking structure will be the visitors and staff will enter the parking structure from Padilla into the parking structure. It will be a free parking structure.
Okay, so there'll be no. So then, what? It would be closed to the public after hours, or that's what I'm saying.
We're going to be providing provisions to lock it after hours, and we're going to, as you know, it's a living, breathing building. So we're going to put provisions for roll down doors for after hours if we need to close it down. We think that with the amount of staff working, some staff members do work late hours, as well as the cleaning crews that'll be working there. So we think that there's always going to be someone in the building working, so to speak.
So the patrons of the restaurants, okay, again, paint the picture for me, please. The restaurants, I'm assuming, will be open into the evening, I would think. But the patrons of the restaurant won't have access to the parking structure?
Oh, no, absolutely. Everyone gets access. Anyone coming into the building would have access to the parking structure.
Okay. So just sometime, maybe, in the evening, 10, 11, whatever is determined, then the parking structure would be secured. But you're not going to charge for parking all the other time? a question.
We hadn't planned on, yeah, I know the building to the south, they charge for parking. We're aware of that. The ownership has not asked me to, or it hasn't been the direction to charge for parking.
Okay. So what my thoughts are, and actually this is much better than I had hoped for, to be honest with you, is that, you know, this is always a negotiation. It's a trade-off. You know, we give a little, developer gives a little, and, you know, at some point in the future, there will be other development here in the area. I mean, that's the only constant, it seems, is growth, and that there at least is public access. I would expect, frankly, that you would have one of those automated things where people pay, you know, put your credit card in and go in and out, but it's rather generous for you to have it open. But at some point, that would be the case where we might have another project that's under park. But yet, if there was accessible overflow or underused parking, at least there are possibilities. I'm not asking for any commitment or any kinds of entitlements. And so I just like to see if we're going to give variances or allow code to be exceeded, that there's a trade-off of some sorts. And it looks like there is. So I don't have any problems with this. It predates me by many years. The design is similar to one I objected to on Senora Boulevard, but unlike Senora Boulevard, this one fits with the existing large buildings, the medical building, the other office building. Senora Boulevard, that one's going to set the tone for that entire corridor. So while flat surfaces and 90-degree angles aren't my favorite, in this case, it fits. It fits with what's there. So pending, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said thank you.
And it's an attractive building. I mean, you know, it'll I mean, design is always, it's like hairstyles. Everyone has their opinions, right? So pending my fellow commissioners' comments, I will be supporting this. I will be supporting.
All right, Mark. Thank
you.
Yes, I do have a similar question as Mark regarding the parkings. I know at this point, there's no plan to do a charged parking, but I always think in the future, if the parking becomes really tight and it becomes issues, you want to control the parkings, so that the paid parking may come into place. But I also think for patrons come in, a free 90 minutes, for example, parking, that's always to me was always a way to go, but I don't know if it's a good time. We can discuss later on this one. Anyway, so that's just my comments to it. All right, it is 8:04 p.m. Let's open up for public comments. Jackie?
Yes, Vice Chair, we received 2 public comments for this item. The first one is from Stephen Wong, and he's at 544 West Las Tunas Drive, and he writes, I am the owner of the property located at 544 to 548 West Las Tunas Drive and would like to express my concerns. I have previously reviewed the above mentioned project, and the only issue I have is the parking reduction. If you review the location of my property, the city parking is directly behind. Over the past 18 years, I have had issues with other nearby businesses or their clientele parking on my lot, which is properly posted as private property. They don't care since it saves them from walking a little more. The past few years, there has been an increase in both the use of the city parking lot and the limited street parking, which do not get monitored as it should. I have noticed that some vehicles park all day on the street. With a new project being so large, along with the project on Las Tunas Drive and Allen May Avenue, and with the increase of popular restaurants in the area, I feel reduction in parking requirements will further exacerbate the problem. So I am against the parking reduction request. The second public comment is from Mr. Kevin Deep, and he writes, "Thank you for confirming that the 506 West Las Tunas Drive project will be honoring our initial request from a few years ago to install a permanent barrier to separate the medical traffic from the single-family residential zone. We have some concerns on this project since there has been city staff changes on this project and there is now a new developer. We would like an opportunity to have all stakeholders be aware of the residents' initial concerns, requests, and comments on this project. On this string, I have copied a few residents on Padilla Street that share similar views. 533 Padilla is represented by the Huang family, 536 by the Levin Good family, 540 is represented by the Siong family, 543 by the Romero family, 551 represented by the Peterson family, and 556 by the Cole family. These residents on Padilla Street are directly affected by the project and would like the owner and the city, the Planning Commission and the Design Review Commission, to hear our requests and concerns for this project. Number one, please install a permanent barrier to cul-de-sac Padilla Street and separate the medical and commercial traffic from the single-family residential zone. Please ensure the design of this cul-de-sac has ample privacy features to allow the residents on Padilla Street to have quiet enjoyment and privacy on their property. We recommend a lot of plants and trees to accompany the structural barrier. Number two, please ensure that all project construction activities, equipment, machine, and waste are placed on the project side of the barrier. There is an ongoing project on Allen May and Padilla that has construction machinery, equipment, and dumpsters taking over the half of the streets for the past 5 years. This is not an acceptable practice, and we urge for this behavior to stop and not repeat. Third, please ensure the design of the building does not have any windows facing the residences of Padilla Street. 535 and 543 are directly affected by any window design. There are swimming pools and backyard patios that our residences would like privacy from a tall building looking over. We understand that there will be a special public meeting on October 11th, and it will be held virtually. We would like an opportunity for comments to be heard. Thank you. And that concludes our public comment for this item.
Commissioners, would you like me to address Mr. Deep's comments?
Yes, sorry, I muted. So can you address the public comments?
Great, yeah. I received this public input earlier today. And yes, to address Mr. Deep, we're definitely going to be installing the permanent barrier at the end of Padilla. It'll be identical to the one that was previously approved in 2016. It'll be a raised curb with landscaping, and only emergency vehicles are to travel over that raised median. This is also conditioned by Public Works, Fire Department, and the Police Department. So we have no problem constructing that, and our plans will show that. My site plan actually already includes that. Regarding our project timeline in, I guess, comparison to the Allen May project, I can assure you I won't be there for 5 years. We anticipate a 18-month construction duration, and there will be absolutely no trash visible beyond our construction fences. And we make sure every day, at the end of every workday, our sites are cleaned by our own staff. And to address his third comment, the windows in the office building looking into the residences, our only windows on the west side of the office building look towards the commercial area, not the residence. and I can answer that. With regards to the other comment by Mr. Wong, I can sympathize with him with people parking in a parking lot that you own. I would, I guess, just encourage him to post the signage like he says he has, but with a towing company with the local municipal code to allow him to tow them. I think once he starts towing people from his parking lot, that problem should subside pretty quickly. We have our own commercial buildings, and we have to do the same thing from time to time if we get people, not parking or parking in our private parking lots. So I would just encourage Mr. Wong to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. City staff, do you want to address any of the comments?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. Staff would like to echo the applicant's comments. The permanent barrier is required by the conditions of approval from our Public Works Department. And like the staff mentioned before, and also applicant emphasized again that the barrier will be only for emergency purposes, but you will definitely be a permanent barrier prohibiting regular commercial traffic onto residential street. As far as the construction activity, there's a conditions of approval in the mitigation measure, as well as your regular public works condition requiring the applicant submitting construction and operation staging plan to identify the location for like staging areas, and also all the construction activity need to comply with the building and also city's public works requirement. Would it be a dusting, cleaning up, and also contained within the project site. So those are already in the conditions of approval in the planning commission, as part of the planning commission resolutions.
Thank you. Well, I guess it's at 8:12 p.m. The public comments is closed. Now we're opening to a commissioner's discussion. Mark, do you want to start?
Okay. Someone's got to. I'd like to say, start up with the positives here. I like the redesign that has opened up that corner. The previous design and some other designs elsewhere in the city create, again, maybe the definition has changed, but the last time I checked years ago, a blind intersection was an intersection you could not see 200 feet in each direction. Some of the buildings go right up to the sidewalk. This one does not. This one's opened up. You can see at least westbound. Well, you can see eastbound too, because there's just the medical parking lot there. So I like that it's not created another, any more traffic hazard than there already exists out there, right? There's already enough of that. I like that the owner is being generous with the parking and so forth. And I like the fact that this is consistent with the surrounding buildings. I also like that, in fact, I'm making mental notes. I hope staff is doing a similar thing or written notes, that a lot of these things that come up, like the barrier to protect that R1 neighborhood, as we get more of these large projects, I'd like to see that codified. Since we can't make requirements that aren't in the code, I'd like to see some of these things get into our new code as we build things. I've seen down here near Valley and then so forth, new large residential developments, and we're putting them in there, and then the R1 neighborhood is kind of left to fend for itself. In this case, at least we're protecting that R1 neighborhood from the effects of the additional traffic and so forth. So I like that. I like that this project is doing that. And I don't want to jump the gun here, so I'll wait till my other fellow commissioners have made their comments.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Mark. Jerry.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about this redesign. I like, obviously, having restaurants that the community can utilize is a good thing. I'm a little concerned about the parking variance, but I think that's workable with bus routes and the like. And I think that the developers have certainly, you have seen in their slideshow, tried to address issues that have been raised previously. Obviously, this is a smaller project than the one we had approved before. So, you know, that makes it, you know, more palatable even than the previous project. Obviously, the DRC will comment about, you know, in detail about the design. That's important. But I think it's, I think there's a lot to like about this, and you know, people in the community have wondered why these properties have been sitting there vacant and boarded up, you know, sort of fenced up. And I think this is a good answer to utilize for utilization of those other properties. And I think it'll be a welcome addition to the community. And obviously, a medical office building in this area around the hospital makes a lot of sense. So there's a lot to like about this overall, from my perspective. So there you go.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, I will make my comments on it. Yes, I agree with all my fellow commissioners' comments. I do feel it's better product than the previous one we had. I had issues for that one before. But most importantly, I felt this design and with the respect to the street, Las Tunas and Santa Anina, it's really activate that sector of this the city, that street. Currently, it's very dull, very bad, very unattractive, and especially in the medical facility areas. I think it will really cheer up people in that areas. I do comment that the designs, and I always had issues with the parking garage next to the single family home on Padilla Street. But I guess, you know, I look at the parking garage access. It's been pulled away from the single family residence as far east as possible. So that was I can see the design intent. And the buffer zone, we talked last time that I see there's effort to make the buffer, I think it's 25 feet buffer zone with the landscape, with the bearing walls, and without any heavy equipments going in and out. I knew there is a transformer station, assuming that is a screened and a sound barrier, so it would not cause a significant impact to the single family home to the west of it. And overall, I feel this is a project. It will activate a very important sector of the city, and so I intend to support it. So should I make a motion on this? I could make a motion to approve planning case number TMAP 21-001, Tentative Parcel Map, CUP 21-001, Conditional Use Permit, and MOD 21-001, minor modifications with the attached conditions. Do I get a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Jackie?
Okay, Vice Chair Liu,
Yes.
Commissioner Juarez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Okay, the vote is 3 yes, 3-0, motion carried.
All right. Thank you
Thank you.
very much for
Thank
the
you.
staff.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. I guess I'm gonna transfer my floor to the staff.
Thank you.
At this, yeah.
Am I closing? Should I close the planning commission hearing?
The action that the planning commission took constitutes closing of the public hearing, so that's sufficient. At this point, you can hand it over to Chair Chen
Do we still be on the meeting, or we should stay on the meeting?
Yes, if the planning commissioners can please stay, because the meeting has not yet adjourned. We're just moving to the next item, which is the Design Review Commission public hearing portion.
All right, Design Review Commission, Raymond Chan, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Appreciate all that you have done, and I want to thank the Planning Commission for all the great work, and it's good to share the meeting with you again. I guess now we're moving on to agenda number 5A, 506 West Latuna Drive, 113 South Santa Anita Street, 515 Padilla Street, 519 Padilla Street, 523 Padilla Street, 527 Padilla Street, and 531 Padilla Street for the planning case number TMAP 21-001, tentative track map, partial map, and CUP 21-001, conditional use permit, and MOD 21-001, minor modification. I understand that Senior Planner Matt Chan will start the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Chen and members of the Design Review Commission. The item before you tonight will be a precise plan of a design for the 5-story medical office building. So it'll be PPD 21-001. If you can go to the next slide, please. Staff will try to go to the background information really quick, but get to the Design Review Commission items. This project is located to the southwest corner of Las Tunas Drive and Santa Anita Street. It'll be a combination of 7 parcels into 1 parcel for a 5-story medical office building. Next slide, please. For the project history, the project will receive Planning Commission and Design Review Commission approval back in 2016. In 2019, entitlement will expire, and in January of this year, the applicant submitted a new entitlement application requesting the conditional use permit, tentative parcel map, as well as precise plan of design for the 5-story medical office building. Next slide. And earlier this year, in March and April, the applicant took this project to the Design Review Commission twice to receive comment from the Design Review Commission to solicit, to get very important feedback regarding the project design, and also including signage, public arts, and also circulations. So the applicant received very important feedback from this commission to improve, to enhance this project. The project also went to Planning Commission in April of this year to solicit feedback from the Planning Commission as well. In June of this year, the applicant reached out to surrounding property owner and neighborhoods to solicit feedback regarding the proposed project. Next slide. The project will be a 5-story medical office building. You'll be a retail and restaurant on the 1st floor, and the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th will be a medical office building. And this will be a medical office tenant, so you will not be a medical office condo. So So this is one medical office building, and the 4-story parking structure will be right next to the west of the 5-story medical office building. Next slide, please. The project has been to Design Review Commission twice for architectural design review, and also staff as well as previous city architect as well as the current city architect had also reviewed the project. I believe the project itself complied with city's design criteria. And so, and both city architect and the city staff is recommending the commission to approve this project. The project itself also meets the open space requirement, and for master signage and also public art, usually they will be part of the a later on process that if the design review commission approves this project, during the construction time, the applicant will be required to submit a master sign plan as well as a public art program for this development. And they will be subject to a different public notice hearing process done by the DRC. Next slide. The joint PC and DRC meeting, including the Design Review Commission component of this project, were also noticed to St. Gabriel Sun newspaper, and also noticed to surrounding property owners and tenants within the 500-foot radius. Next slide. At the end, staff is recommending the Design Review Commission to adopt a resolution of the Design Review Commission to approve PPD 21-001 for a 5-story medical office building, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. Before staff concludes staff's presentation, staff would like to mention that city architect Ron Nestor is also on the call today to answer any architectural related questions. This concludes staff's presentation, and staff's ready for any question.
Thank you, Matt. I'll go to the commissioners and see if they have any question for staff and or city architect. Commissioner Tu, any question?
No, I don't have question for staff.
Okay, Commissioner Salo, any question for staff?
No, I don't have questions for staff, but since the commission has reviewed this design in this current state previously, I'd like to hear the city architect's comments on his response to the design. Thank you.
Great. Ron, you want to kind of touch that a little bit? You're on mute.
Okay, thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. My opinion is I think this is a very finely designed building. I think that it provides a lot of texture to the building, a lot of visual interest. I think the changes that first of all, the changes they did from the 2016 version to the current version are really very good changes. I think the building has moved to a high quality of design in this time period. One of the things I like best about the entire project is the integration of the parking structure with the main building. It seems like one building. It doesn't seem like a building and a parking structure. I think they've coordinated that very well. The materials, I think, are nicely considered, with one exception, as the applicant had mentioned. The applicant provided a color board to my office that I reviewed, and most of the materials are very nice, with, in my opinion, the exception of this plaster color that is a bright orange terracotta, when you see in the elevations and renderings a much softer rose beige, and they have agreed to soften that bright orange back to the softer rose beige color. I think that the integration of the fast casual dining along Santa Anita and how it opens to the street creates a real participatory experience along the street, which will encourage people from the hospital to come and walk over to grab a bite here. And the corner does create a gateway to the hospital district and creates a continuity of the flow of pedestrians from Las Tunas down the length of of Santa Anita. Also, the entrance to the medical building itself is located on the corner closest to the hospital and has been redesigned to be much more prominent. So I think it's a very nice design.
Thank you very much. Those are very, very good comments. Thank you. Appreciate that. Move on to Commissioner Nadoni. Any questions for staff and or the city architect?
Yes, for staff, I do have a question. I just wanted to verify that we have not received anything on artwork and signs, even though I know the applicant presented some inspirational ideas. And then I just wanted to make sure that to confirm that it wasn't part of the package and that we will be seeing a complete package in the future. And then I have to agree with the city architect. That was one of my comments on the terracotta color. It was just way too strong when you put it right up against the white, which is what's going to happen on the parking deck side. So I definitely agree with that. So those were my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Nadoni, thank you. Yes, so master sign plan as well as a public art program will be part of a future review item by staff and ultimately need to be reviewed and approved by the Design Review Commission. And there'll be a separate submittal, separate application review process. Condition number 21 in your conditions approval lay out the condition which require the master sign plan and public art need to be submitted as a separate application to be reviewed and approved by the Design Review Commission. So that will be a separate item. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you. Vice Chair Romo, any question for staff and or the audience?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have any specific question also for that, with the exception that maybe I can ask the applicant later if your staff cannot answer it. The landscape plan and or the landscape size in comparison to the rendering is what I have in mind. The renderings looks good, but have you got a chance to look at their submitted landscape plan? Maybe wait until the developer, maybe they can answer that for me. I want to make sure that especially those palm trees that was a great addition, but I want to make sure that the height of those palm trees will work with the building height. Somewhere I see it about 18 to 20 feet. Some sections show them they like 70 feet. Different type of palm give you a different type of feeling. So I just want to clarify that. I don't know if staff have a chance to review that portion. If not, I'll wait until the applicant step on the podium later.
Staff can refer to the applicant to answer the landscaping question.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's all the question for staff. I understand that the applicant is with us, and Mr. Hill, please step forward. And we hear your presentation earlier, but if you have any additional information pertaining to the design review portion, please come forward and share that with the commissioner.
Good evening, commissioners. And Chair, thank you very much for your time tonight. As you may have heard earlier today, we went to the Planning Commission and were approved. So today we're in front of this commission for the third time. We've obviously, I think all of the commissioners heard our previous presentation. I don't know if the commission would like me to go over it again. I'm happy to go through page by page, or if you want me just to answer your questions. I think the city architect did a great job reviewing the initial review. I understand he listened to the previous, or viewed the previous YouTube presentations, and I think we've addressed the commission's concerns previously. But I'm happy to go over the presentation again. It's up to the commission.
And the commissioner wanted the applicant to revisit all of the presentation earlier. I believe everyone was here. I personally don't think it's necessary, but I definitely want you to address one of my concerns, which is the landscaping portion, and or if any commissioner have any particular area of concern, I think we can bring it up, and maybe the applicant can address those specifically.
Absolutely. But to address your comment, Chair, if you like to go to slide, if staff is able to open my presentation, go to slide 31. In reference to the landscaping, we're very mindful, and we take a lot of pride in supplying large, healthy specimen trees. We have submitted our landscape plan to the city. The Canary Palms you see on the corner, to give you an idea of plate heights, that first floor plate is 16 feet. So the second floor is probably closer to, I think, 28 feet. The architect can chime in, but that's about 25 feet at least of brown trunk in our elevation. We can keep it there, or we can lower it. And we're open to staff giving us direction on that. I think it talks to the hospital nicely. I think we like the size of the mature trees going down the street as well. And our landscape architect is on the call as well. And for any technical questions you might have.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think when you compare your revision 1 and revision 2, or proposal 1 and 2, the landscaping, of course, is an added amenity to the entire project. And if the landscape architect is on the call, maybe he or she can help us to understand where these the size of the planting going in. I think on another landscape portion, you have something along the street that are also palm trees. Are those? And I don't see that on the landscape plan. So maybe can you introduce a landscape architect and let him walk us through the landscape development of this project?
Yes, Aaron Sabella with Aaron Sabella Landscape. He should be on the call. I heard him earlier today. Aaron, are you there?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Thank you, Aaron. Can you walk us through the perimeter of this project on the site plan?
Yeah. You want to start on? We can look at. We're looking at slide 31.
You want to?
I'm looking at it right now.
This is slide. Yeah. Or do you want to go to? And also in
right here.
Kind of see the before. Yeah. Go ahead.
So slide 31, we're showing the canaries. As you know, this is a graphic, and we want the impact there. Obviously, in real life, we want to mimic that. So we're going to have to source and find these palms of significant size. I would say a minimum of 18 foot to 20 foot brown trunk height in order to get this feel and this look. And then along Las Tunas, I don't know if we have a picture. Well, let's just continue on with these street trees here. So these would be a broad evergreen canopy, what I'm thinking. We haven't gotten to the exact species yet. We will develop that in the construction drawings. But the idea is that we provide some shade and then also some softening of the building. So this tree is more standard trunk. It's going to be an evergreen tree. Obviously, maintenance and growth pattern is going to be critical in that final decision.
Would you say that
the lower?
I'm sorry. The height that you're showing on the evergreen and or the palm tree, is this at full-grown height, or are you trying to get trees that are fairly close to this size? I just want to get an idea.
I think this would probably be more on the taller full-grown height for the palms. For the trees, I think we can get something similar. maybe a little bit smaller, but we want to definitely maximize, and that scale should be close upon installation.
Okay, thank you. So further down, there's a couple more palm trees shown on the rendering, but I don't see it on the plan. Are those street trees, or you still plan on putting those?
Which do we have a slide that we can look at that?
Can we see the slide?
Maybe slide 30. If the staff is able to slide it back. Originally, at one point, there were street trees, and then it was decided, as opposed to have a checkerboard effect of that sidewalk, it was to kind of mirror image the hospital across the street, where they have a consistent, I think it's either 7 or 10 foot wide city sidewalk, and we're keeping all the trees basically on our side, on the private property, similar to the hospital. So you have one continuous sidewalk without any interruption on the city sidewalk.
So all the trees now that shown on this plan are within your property line, and because I guess this is still fairly schematic. I just want to make sure that your upon your final decision on the size of the tree and the species of the trees, they are to reflect what the commissions see tonight on the rendering. I think that's
definitely the goal, is to get as close as we can to this rendering, and make sure that, like I said, upon installation, we are getting to that look. We definitely want to soften that building.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I guess that's all I have on my question. Any other commissioner may have any question for the applicant? I see Vice Chair Romo, raise your hand, please. Vice Chair Romo. You're muted. Yeah.
Yes. I have a couple of questions. The first question is regarding the west elevation of the parking structure. That's something that we really didn't see too much of. Is that going to be open, or is that going to be solid wall?
Thank you. If you want to go to slide 28, that's probably, that's on the west side of the parking structure. It's a combination of shear walls, and there are some natural ventilation to eliminate any mechanical exhaust of the upper floors. The architect was able to select that's fine. That's great. The architect was able to source a perforated metal to allow the parking structure to be naturally vented, and we confirmed it with our mechanical engineer, which will help reduce any noise issues from our mechanical system. But that west elevation, that's not the lane in which the cars park, so there wouldn't be headlights facing that direction. That's kind of considered like a ramping going upward.
Correct. Okay.
The terracotta color represents basically the shear walls of the building, and the light gray represents the perforated metal.
Okay. I just want to make sure for the residents that are on that block of Padilla, because that is a beautiful street, a residential street, that there is some privacy there, and I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
The other comment I have is regarding the code. Right now there are number 52, the project conditions of approval. It talks about general maintenance. However, with date palms, you are going to have fruit, and that's something that needs to definitely be called out as far as sidewalk maintenance. Usually projects this size have some type of maintenance program, daily, weekly, ongoing. but I just want to have that included as a condition of approval, because sometimes buildings are sold and a future property owner might not want to clean up the sidewalks. And with Cape Palms, I've walked in front of the hospital, and sometimes they don't always pick up the fruit. Sometimes the fruit is soft and makes a mess, but I think that that's something that's needed. My other question is just general. The landscape plans, say preliminary landscape plans, so are you going to be doing some refining work to the landscape plan?
Absolutely. There'll be the landscape architect will, there'll be a series of 20 sheets with all the construction details, planting, root barriers, irrigation notes, etc., as well as specifying the species. Typically, I request that the landscape architect joins us when we hand select the trees as well. That way, we ensure that we're installing what his vision was, to make sure that we are giving the best quality tree and other vegetation. And regarding your other comment regarding condition 52, we have no problem adding that condition that there's a maintenance requirement. I think that's a great idea.
And then for staff, if we approve this project tonight, will the landscape plan come back to the design commission?
Actually, if the design review commission approved the precise plan of design, and also, I guess part of this precise plan of design will be the building architectural as well as kind of a preliminary landscaping. And city will also have a consulting city landscape architect that will review more detailed landscaping plans, including installation, the calculations, and planting plans as part of the building plan check process. So if the design review commission have any suggestions or recommendations, staff can also add it as part of the conditions of approval, so go forward to the city landscape architect.
Okay. The only other thing I'd like to add is when we're looking at the colored sidewalk paving that's on the city side, that is to be scored as well, as per the Mission District specific plan. That's not listed right now in the preliminary landscape plan, but that's something that definitely needs to continue with that paving color and the scoring.
We have no problem with that.
Thank you. My other comment is just totally unrelated towards design, but parking. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask a question on that.
Go ahead and ask.
Sure.
Tell us no.
Sure. I see that you have that 20% reduction in the parking required number of stalls, and just wanted to ask if that was part of a calculation on shared parking when you look at people going back and forth from other neighboring uses to different restaurants, because that wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, it doesn't assume that people are, at the hospital walking over. It assumes that it takes into account that all those people are in our building using it.
Okay. So my comment is because there are adjacent uses of higher intensities, you will have people walking to and not necessarily moving their car across the street or to park, move their car from the hospital lot to your lot. So there's going to be some cross, different people crossing the street and utilizing your facilities. So that 20% parking deduction of total number of parking spaces sounds equitable to me, and you'll probably even have a little bit extra parking spaces That's my last comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Appreciate that. I see your hands up, Commissioner Toh.
Yes. I actually agree with a lot of comments that city architect had about the project. I don't want to repeat the compliment on the project again. I just want to bring up a couple of the concerns I have. First of all, I look at there's a delivery entrance from Las Tunas, but I don't see any loading area, particularly for the retail, the ground floor retail and the F&B, the restaurants. It appears to be, it all enter the building through the main lobby. It seems to me it would be interference with the main flow going into the lobby, I mean the pedestrian traffic. So that is one of my questions about the logistic flow of the building. And secondly, I have a question about the little garden at the corner of the southeast corner. I heard something like a hearing garden. I think that's a great idea. I don't know if this what the hearing gardens are located here, but it seems like the access to that garden is kind of like by blocking by this landscape area, as well as the I think it's the aluminum cladding block that part of the building design is blocking that from the garden through the building main entrance. It doesn't seem to me is visible from the street, particularly from those renderings. It doesn't appear to be on any of the renderings. Only see it on the floor plan. I thought the garden would be nice if you have access from the main lobby, as well as if that can be flow through into the main lobby, the main access of the building, instead of blocked by the building and the landscape area. So that is the second comments I have. And also, I was wondering what kind of treatment are those the windows and doors, the casual, the fast casual restaurants. It looks like there's the reference image with the folding doors or blow up doors. I wonder if the designer have any set idea about what exactly is the type of the doors we'll be using. I think that's really important for this elevation, as well as like making sure this infiltration of the traffic and flows into those restaurants area from the sidewalk. Yeah, those are three of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hill, you want to address that?
Absolutely. That'd be, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Would the staff be able to go to slide 21 for me? Slide 21 is the site plan. So I can start there as far as addressing the commissioner's comments. Thank you. Okay, so addressing the first comment about the ground level loading. So what will happen, and we're just starting this process, as everyone knows. We're contacting the local trash provider in the area. So the person would come and we would arrange it, in which we do in every commercial project we do, is we do it in the early hours, not to disturb the other businesses. The driver would be traveling eastbound on Las Tunas. That person would make a right turn and head south down the driveway. And before that, the driver gets to the parking structure, inside that driveway is and this is obviously directly adjacent to a commercial building, so there'll be no noise disturbing the commercial business because we'll be doing the morning hours before they open. He would, or she would drive the truck down that alley, that service drive. There's a enclosed trash enclosure, so it's not visible, one for homeless or whomever breaking in, and also for noise and any visibility reasons. It's all behind a closed door. So the driver would open the roll-up door and load the trash. The driver would then drive through the parking structure. It's a one-way driveway. We designed this building to ensure that no traffic enters back onto Las Tunas, just because we know how busy the street is traveled, and it's right next to an intersection. So the truck or the delivery would come through there and then exit onto Padilla, and then probably northbound back up to Las Tunas. Similarly, off of this road is our mail room. So for FedEx, Amazon, UPS, and any kind of deliveries, there's a common loading room for all the mail deliveries or any large supplies. Same thing, they would come in this street, park, open up a secure room, offload, and then drive through the building, exit back onto it. Regarding the loading for perhaps the patrons visiting the fast casual dining, we would work with the city engineer, Public Works, to create along Las Tunas. Currently, there is parking allowed, so not Las Tunas, currently along Santa Anita, there is parking allowed, a portion of that street on our side of the street. We would work with the staff, the city engineer, to allow us to provide loading zones in yellow or whatever the appropriate color is to paint the curbs. So that way, if people are running in for 20 minutes, picking up an order, or sitting down for 30 minutes, whatever the city would allow for a loading zone, we would like to see that along that frontage for customers and even patients offloading to offload there, and then they continue south down Santa Anita. I think one of the things brought up by one of the other commissioners, I think there's a real reality that a lot of visitors in our building will be coming from other buildings. I think it's likely that they are at the hospital receiving treatment, but then they're going for either a post-op or pre-op to see the doctor next door, or maybe filling a prescription. I'm not sure, but I think that's a reality. To address your second question is the healing garden. So on the north east corner of the project, where you see the yellow large area, that is what we call the healing garden. We're able to create a large enough area to allow both the visitors in the building and staff, and even hospital people or first responders to come in. It's a large enough area where we can provide seating for them to relax. And so we'll work with our landscape architect to create, visually appealing landscape in that area. Obviously, being mindful that it's covered, so it has to be something that can grow in covered or filtered light. On the southeast corner, we call that the meditation garden. We're trying to create vignettes for visitors. Because the staff gave us the direction to make the building accessible from the street into the fast casual and the retail for their success, we had to step the building. So at the very edge of the building, the very far furthest south part of the building, that building is up in the air some 2.5 feet, perhaps. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's up in the air. So I can't actually get the people in from that point because there's a grade break. But we are creating a seating area for people to sit there, and the landscape architect will select plant materials and pots that are appealing to visitors and patients that want to sit there and enjoy that area. To address the third item, the treatment of full indoor, if the staff could go to slide number, just to give you kind of an idea. If you go to, if you probably go to slide, apologize. Slide 11. We haven't, you asked how the windows will be treated. We haven't specified the actual manufacturer yet. That's, once we get into the working drawings, we start selecting who that manufacturer is, whether it's a nano product or U.S. aluminum or whomever it is. But if you look at the top right-hand corner of this slide, you kind of get an idea of what the open air concept is of what we envision these doors, where the doors are going to fold open on nice weather, which California, and also being east facing, we perceive those being able to be open most of the day. And obviously colder days are, they're going to be closed, but we'll be able to open it that way. Visitors coming from the hospital or visitors coming from the residences, they see this open, inviting environment, which, I give credit to the architect that came up with this idea. And I think it's a really dynamic, piece of our elevation. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. I just want to follow up with that. Is that a food court type of restaurant, or they are individual, different restaurants?
So right now, yes. So the way we've designed it currently, it's designed for potentially 4 small concepts. We obviously, we can't get the cart before the horse and lease the space before we have commission's approval. I mean, the number of restaurants might be 2, or it might be 4, might be 3. I don't know what size requirements are going to come. We'll start putting the feelers out and start working with the local brokerage community to try to attract them in here. But we designed this that way. It's a kind of a common, open dining experience. So that way, it's likely that the staff upstairs, they're going to be coming down here on their breaks, their rest breaks or their meal breaks, and coming down here. And we want to be able to offer a variety of different types of food.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. In terms of the hearing garden, to me, the northeast corner seems like a bit busy for that purpose, because that's it's a major intersection, and then there's a lot of traffic going in and out. And then from your rendering, it looks like a pretty busy storefront. I don't know. That's just my my thoughts. And I think the little garden to the southeast corner is pretty nice, considering it was really like sunken, that is in a different plane as the building. Yeah, that can be a nice piece of addition to the city, the interface of the city. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see Commissioner Nadoni had her hand up. Your turn, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just a minor comments. I noticed that on your site plan, you do have your blue arrows. Now, we weren't copied on your presentation, so it may be clarified in your presentation. But the blue arrows indicated an ADA, and they're going through stairs, so I understand that's got to be clarified. So that would probably, obviously not be ADA, path of travel. However, I do wanted to point out, though, how critical. I'm glad to hear that you're redoing the sidewalks, because you do have stairs at the grade breaks up against your building on your property. So I think it's going to be very important for the civil engineer to really take a look at that sidewalk, and whether it's working with the city or, well, obviously it's working with the city, because there may be, non-ambulatory people that need to get from one end to the other. And I do see that it's not possible on your site. So it would have to be on the sidewalk site. So I just want to make sure that gets looked at very closely. I made my comment about the white and the terracotta. I think that's being taken care of. I did have a question on, I think it's your page A3.10, which is the section. It's section 1. you have a very large overhang at the southeast of the building, at the top of the building. And it looks like it's attempting to engage the parking deck. But it's way up in the air, and it's also structurally, I'm not sure exactly how. It's possible, but it seems like it's a very costly endeavor to have it so high. It's like 20-some feet above the parking deck. So it's not, it's architectural, but it's not serving a purpose other than architectural. And my concern is that if it comes to the point where structurally, economically, it's not feasible, it will affect your elevation, and it will affect the design on that corner. So I just want you to really take a hard look at that and see. Maybe that's not the best thing on that corner. So I think those basically are my comments, other than when we were looking at the landscaping up on the corner of Santa Anita and Las Tunas, it appears that the one palm tree that you're showing will conflict with the overhang of the building. So I would encourage you to be less of a slave to the design of the paving and maybe pull that tree well out farther north a little bit. Take a look at that because right now I don't think a palm tree is going to work right there. So those are my comments. Thank you. Otherwise, I think the project has improved from the last time that the commission has seen it. I look forward to seeing what your ideas are and your inspirations for artwork and signs. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Donny. Commissioner Salo, you have any question at all? Comments?
No, I think we've covered it pretty thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, appreciate all of that remarks and comments and observations. And I guess I agree with most everything said. The only piece I can probably add on to the landscaping and the garden and the healing garden and the art program is that have the landscape architect and the artist look at all your open space. It's available, whether it's up in the corner of the northeast corner of the southeast corner. Figure out what you really need and what's going to be best for your client, for you, the operator, and for the patients that will be using that whole building together with the hospital building. Yeah, a nice healing garden with some artwork in there, incorporating together, sometimes work really well. So take a look at that. I know you're still in the preliminary stage, but all this should be considered. Other than that, I think all the comments made were very good. There are a few challenges, but I have to comment that the project has gone a long way compared to what we looked at 6 years ago when Commissioner Donny and I looked at it. So it's all for the better, and we look forward to see it happen. So that concludes our question. Any feedback from the applicant?
No, I really do. Again, I appreciate everyone's feedback. I did want to make sure I responded to the commissioner regarding her questions. The ADA path of travel, we have worked with CDR, who is our civil engineer. They're on the phone with us tonight. Slide 22 is our ADA path of travel, showing both exterior path of travel and also interior path of travel. And when we say interior, we actually provide within inside of our building a ramp on the first level because, as I mentioned earlier, we have steps in our slabs, but those are within the tenant spaces. But yet we do provide a ramp within the building, so anything on the first floor is accessible by wheelchair. We provide entry from every city sidewalk into the building. All the retail is at the same level with the city sidewalks. And then inside the parking structure, we provide the ADA path of travel we've already positioned where the ADA parking stalls will be and how they're going to travel inside the parking structure into the building. And obviously all that will be going back through plan check, and the consultants will confirm everything. And then your next comment was regarding regarding the artwork. We would definitely bring the public artwork back to this commission at a later date. We intend to incorporate the public art at the corner of the project for many reasons. One, we want to make sure that the public appreciates it and sees it from the street, but also in all four directions, north, south, east, and west. So it's important that we incorporate the artwork at the corner, so as many people, coming through the city see it. But then also inside that healing garden, those people also are able to enjoy the artwork, and try to incorporate, and I'm not an artist, and so I'm going to leave it to the artists to come up with their ideas, how we can make the artwork the process, part of the process of healing is to enjoy the artwork. And what that journey looks like, the artisan will help us figure that out. And then we will, to also just address with the landscaping, we'll definitely look at that north tree to make sure we have plenty of room for the canopy not to touch the building. And we'll work with the city landscape architect to work with our landscape architect with our construction drawings. And I appreciate your feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I think I will go to our secretary and see if there is any comments that you receive from the public pertaining to the design review portion.
Yes, Chairman Cheng. We have received 2 public comments. They are the same ones for the Planning Commission, but I'm required to read them again for the Design Review Commission meeting portion. First is from Stephen Wong at 544 West Las Tunas Drive. And he writes, I am the owner of the property located at 544 to 548 West Las Tunas Drive, and I would like to express my concerns. I have previously reviewed the above mentioned project, and the only issue I have is the parking reduction. If you review the location of my property, the city parking is directly behind. Over the past 18 years, I have issues with other nearby businesses or their clientele parking on my lot, which is properly posted as private property. They don't care since it saves them from walking a little more. The past few years, there has been an increase in both the use of the city parking lot and the limited street parking, which do not get monitored as it should. I have noticed that some vehicles park all day on the street. With a new project being so large, along with a project on Las Tunas Drive and Allen May Avenue, and with the increase of popular restaurants in the area, I feel reduction in parking requirements will further exacerbate the problem. So I'm against the parking reduction request. Second one is from Mr. Kevin Deep, and he writes, thank you for confirming that the 506 West Las Tunas Drive project will be honoring our initial request from a few years ago to install a permanent barrier to separate the medical traffic from the single-family residential zone. We have some concerns on this project since there has been city staff changes on this project and there is now a new developer. We would like an opportunity to have all stakeholders be aware of the residents' initial concerns, requests, and comments on this project. On this string, I have copied a few residents on Padilla Street that share similar views. 535 Padilla is represented by the Huang family. 536 is represented by the Levengood family. 540 by the Siong family. 543 by the Romero family. 551 by the Pedersen family, and 556 by the Cole family. These residents on Padilla Street are directly affected by the project and would like the owner and the city, the Planning Commission and Design Review Committee, to hear our requests and concerns for this project. Number 1, please install a permanent barrier to cul-de-sac Padilla Street and separate the medical and commercial traffic from the single-family residential zone. Please ensure the design of this cul-de-sac has ample privacy features to allow the residents on Padilla Street to have quiet enjoyment and privacy on their property. We recommend a lot of plants and trees to accompany the structural barrier. Number 2, please ensure that all project construction activities, equipment, machine, and waste are placed on the project side of the barrier. There is an ongoing project on Allen May and Padilla that has construction machinery, equipment, and dumpsters taking over half of the streets for the past 5 years. This is not an acceptable practice, and we urge for this behavior to stop and not repeat. Third, please ensure the design of the building does not have any windows facing the residences of Padilla Street. 535 and 543 are directly affected by any window design. There are swimming pools and backyard patios that the residences would like privacy from a tall building looking over. We understand there will be a special joint public hearing on Monday, October 11th, and it will be held virtually. We would like an opportunity for our comments to be heard. And that concludes the public comments for this item.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wong. It is now 9:16 and it's the item is now closed, and there will be no more public comments to be read into this item. Okay, we appreciate that. Let me close the public portion of the meeting. And applicant, do you have any further comments or rebuttal you want to make after you heard the public comments? That is ready.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Okay.
In the mail or this morning. Would you like me to repeat my responses at this time?
Matt, do we have to have them to repeat what they have responded?
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is Senior Planner Matt Chen speaking. If you can allow the applicant to briefly touch on it, at least for the record, that applicant did respond for this particular item for the DRC. So we just want to make it clear that we address both Planning Commission's comment and also Design Review Commission comment. So we can have the applicant just briefly touch on that, kind of re-emphasize the, yeah.
Great, let's do that.
Thank you very much. So regarding the first comment from Mr. Wong, you know, we're not just contractors, we're also developers, and we own our own real estate as well. And I can sympathize with him with people parking on his private property. And what I said earlier was, I think it's kind of a necessary evil, as he needs to post all the appropriate signage and contract with a towing company. We use one that, you know, they provide the sign. Because they have to legally post the municipal code on private property to give him the right to have vehicles towed. And I think once he does it a few times, it's most likely the same people that are parking illegally on his property. I would encourage him to have updated signage provided by a towing company, and that should eliminate his problems. And he's fortunate he has a nice city parking lot right behind him. But to address the other comment from the residents from Padilla, they're all great comments. And we've actually addressed number one already, the cul-de-sac. We are going to be constructing a permanent barrier at the end of the street. It's going to be identical to the one that was previously approved in 2016. It's actually on our architectural site plan, and our civil engineers already updated on his plan. It'll be a raised curb with landscaping, and it's only to be used by emergency vehicles. This is a condition previously by Public Works, Fire, and Police Department. And so that will definitely be part of our working drawings, and all the details will be provided in our construction documents. Regarding our project timeline, we're not going to take 5 years. We estimate 18 months right now, based on our current construction schedule that we have put together. And as far as the cleanliness, we're really nitpicky about that. We make sure that, first of all, everything is staged behind fencing, which will be our screen around the entire site. And we do make all the men and workers pick up the trash daily, and we have it hauled off-site. Regarding the windows, our commercial office building, the only windows on the east side face the commercial zone, the seafood restaurant, and so they should have no issues with privacy for those residences. Thank you very much.
Okay. So before I close the public meeting, I just want to maybe give one suggestion. You have an opportunity on the along the westerly property line adjacent to the residence, and there's some landscape opportunity there. So when you do your refinement on your landscape plan, take that into consideration that all these residents that is your good neighbors, and you want to make sure their privacy and give them that best opportunity. That's my only comment that I can suggest to the applicant.
We're happy to do that.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other thing else you want to share with the commissioners from the applicant?
No, I appreciate everyone's time.
Okay. So now the public portion is closed, and we'll go on to our own deliberation and discussion. I'll talk with Commissioner 2 on the project.
I think everybody had really good feedback on the project and the improvement the applicant had done, and I think I feel comfortable for approving the project.
Very good, thank you. Appreciate that. Commissioner Taylor?
Yeah, no further comments. I mean, the design review has been very thorough, and so has the applicant's response. So I'm comfortable proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Nadoni.
Similar comments to my other commissioners. I'm ready to approve.
Thank you. Vice Chair Rommel?
I agree with the other commissioners. I've seen a lot of improvements since we first saw this project earlier this year. Back then, I would not approve it. There's been significant improvements, and it's more pedestrian friendly, so I'm definitely in favor.
Thank you very much. So based on what I heard and also my own personal feeling, I think the project has gone a long way, and I'm happy to see what this latest revision is all about. I think the applicant had taken into all the comments made from our last two sessions and then take it to heart and work on it very diligently. The architect has done a great job, and I look forward to a wonderful project. So with that said, okay, I would like to make a motion to approve pending case number TMAP 21-001, Tentative Parcel Map, CUP 21-001, Conditional Use Permit, and MOD 21-001, minor modification as discussion and conditions of approval per staff report.
Chair Chen, this is Senior Planner Matt Chen speaking. Sorry, staff putting the wrong case number in front of Design Review Commission. So the planning case before the Planning Commission will be PPD 21-001. Will be precise plan of design. Staff apologize for the mistake.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's not tentative partial map, but rather a precise plan of this. But the number is still the same. Still the same number. It's
yes.
Okay. Thank you. I stand corrected. So just for the record, so we'll be planning case number TMAP 21-001 planning.
The case number before Design Review Commission will be just PPD 21-001 for precise plan of design. So it's only one case.
Plan of design.
Yes.
So it's clear now. I mean, we just have to make sure the record for the design review portion is the correct number, right? Is it
Yes.
still PM? So the two numbers exactly the same or they're not the same?
And the numbers are same, but the initial is different. So
Oh.
the DRC will be PPD 21-001.
Okay. So it's not TMAP, it's not tentative map, but it's a precise plan development, PPD.
Yes.
21-01, right? Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that's the case, I can correct it that is planning case number PPD 21-001. All right. Together with the CUP number and the MOD 21-001 number. So
no, I'm sorry.
Chairman,
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Chairman Chang, this is Samantha. If the Design Review Commission can go to the staff report and also the resolution, that is a part of the agenda packet under agenda item 5A. It does state that the planning case number reviewed by the Design Review Commission is Precise Plan of Design case number PPD as in design 21-001. And that is the application that is before the Design Review Commission this evening.
Okay. All right. So can I make my motion based on what you just told me on the PPD number 21-001? That would be
yes, Chair Chang.
Yes. What I got back from staff on the flow of meeting was incorrect, and that's why I read that read the two together with the wrong number. So it is PPD-21-001 for the precise plan development. Okay. All right. With that correction, do I hear a second for the motion? Commissioner Two, were you gonna? Oh.
Yes, this is Commissioner Two, and I second the motion.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Two, second the motion. All right. So roll call, please.
Okay. Chair Chang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romo,
Yes.
Commissioner Tu,
Yes.
Commissioner Salo,
Yes.
and Commissioner Nadolny.
Yes.
Okay, the vote is 5-0. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I guess now are we going back to the planning design commission to continue the rest of the meeting?
Thank you, Chair Chang. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Samantha.
Staff was just gonna mention that the meeting can continue under the direction of Vice Chair Liu with the Planning Commission.
All right, thank you. All right, I guess we have commissioners. Do we have any planning commissioners? Do we have any matters of general informations or concerns at this moment? Commissioner Flores?
Nothing that can't wait till next time.
All right. Commissioner Schwartz?
I don't have any concerns right now, thank you.
All right. And so I guess we will planning commission meeting will adjourn to
I'm sorry, excuse me, Chair, Vice Chair Liu. I want to, item 6, comments from the planning manager. We can jump back to that before we adjourn.
I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. Well, planning manager comments. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, Norma, and thank you, Vice Chair. Staff did want to take this opportunity to remind both the Planning Commission and also the Design Review Commission and also any member of the public that this upcoming Friday is the city's 7th annual dumpling and beer event featuring boba this year. So the event is held in partnership with the Asian Youth Center. There are pre-sale tickets that are available for $35 and $40 at the door. And this is only if for entrance into the beer garden, which will feature 10 brewing companies, including Ogopogo in San Gabriel. The event, to enter the event is free to the public. Purchasing the dumplings, though, there is a charge for that. There will be food booths and food trucks and dessert booths, live entertainment, and arts and crafts for kids. So again, this is this upcoming Friday between 6 and 10 p.m. If there's any follow-up questions, then feel free to contact either planning staff or economic development staff. But staff did just want to take advantage of this opportunity to mention that. And that concludes staff's comments.
Thank you so much. It sounds exciting. Well, if there's no further items, I will adjourn Planning Commission's meeting to November 8th at 6:30. We're still going to be online, I assume, or to be determined. Okay, I'm giving my floor to the design.
Right. With regard to the teleconferencing virtual meetings, it's something that would need to get renewed every 30 days. So we would let the public and the commissioners know if that were to change to in-person. But for now, the default is that it would continue as virtual.
Thank you. I'm giving to a Design Review Commission.
So for Design Review Commission, I think we'll adjourn to our next meeting, which is October 25th at 6:30 p.m. Also online. So I just want to thank staff and the Planning Commission for a very efficient use of time to conduct both meetings together so that we can help the developer to save some time on the project. So I think it's very efficient, it's very valuable. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, everybody, too. So good to see you.
Same here. Meeting adjourned?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.
Bye. Good night.